Hi guys, how are you doing today? Welcome back to Random Lifestyle Vlog. If you're new here, my name is Paulina. This channel is mostly about beauty, and today we're going to discuss another fragrance, and this is the newest Yves Saint Laurent Black Opium Flanker. So where do we even start? Let's have a closer look at the fragrance first. This is Black Opium Glitter, and this is what the bottle looks like. It is very glittery, so I think the name matches the bottle pretty well. So this is another flanker of the very famous Black Opium that was released in 2014. This was an extremely popular fragrance, and as with all popular fragrances, it has many people who love it. There are just as many people who hate it, and there are also people who loved it at first, but then everyone else wore it, and then they just kind of got bored. So yeah, you have all sorts of opinions about this original fragrance. I'm personally not a massive fan. It was this very strong and potent, sweet coffee floral scent. I liked it on other people, but it just didn't really seem to smell good on me. But then throughout the years, we had multiple flankers of this fragrance. Some of them I actually really liked. And then in the recent years, I think I pretty much almost every single flanker they released. I definitely liked the cherry one that I think it was released last year, and then before that we had this kind of one that was built around vanilla. That one was really good too. So all these fragrances were to some extent similar, but there were those little tweaks there that made some fragrances more suitable for specific people. Like some of these fragrances were a little bit more fruity, some of them were a little bit sweeter, had some like lactonic notes, and you know, things like this. But the bottom line is that all of these fragrances are a very strong, noticeable core of coffee and floral notes. So since I liked the previous releases, I quickly checked the notes of this new fragrance, and I liked them too. So I thought, I'm just going to blind buy it. And then, let me tell you, I got a bit surprised. So let me read you the notes first so that we are on the same page. The top notes here are green mandarin, pear, lemon. Then middle notes, orange blossom. And then base notes, vanilla absolute, coffee, marshmallow, musk, and patchouli. I mean, I love marshmallow, I love some orange blossom, so I thought, this is going to be good, right? So I was like, yeah, sure, I'm buying it. So I bought it, and that happened in January. So I bought this fragrance, I received it, I smelled it, and then I was like, what is going on here? To say I wasn't impressed was an understatement. First of all, I couldn't really smell any of the original DNA here, like at all. It didn't have any projection whatsoever. It didn't last on my skin. I could not really smell anything interesting about it. And I was like, this is weird. Maybe that is one of these fragrances that's going to thrive in warmer weather. Because I've had some fragrances like that. So I thought, I'm just going to give it another chance. I'm not going to review it straight away. I'm not going to give a really bad review. I'm just going to wait. And listen, I'm glad I did. So I do apologize for this long intro, but I do think it was important to kind of give you a little bit of a backstory. So let's talk about how I experienced this fragrance in colder weather and how I experience this now when the weather is much warmer. So back in January, upon this initial spray, I could not really get any similarity to the original Black Opium, which was surprising because, as I said, all these flankers are quite similar to the original one. They all share the same DNA. The only similarity I could pick up was to, I think it was Black Opium Extreme. It was like all black, and that one smelled like coffee and dark chocolate. I got some similarity to this fragrance, and it lasted for a couple of minutes. After a couple of minutes, it settled down to something that was sweet and kind of like creamy, but I couldn't even like pick up specific notes in there. It was just like this kind of like a creamy, sweet skin scent. But it lasted for a bit longer, but it was very close to my skin. It did not really project, and at some point it just blended with my skin and I couldn't even smell it on me at all. Honestly, at that point, I did not really have much to say about this fragrance. I couldn't even describe this fragrance properly because it just blended with my skin scent so quickly that I just couldn't really pick up anything. So it was a very disappointing experience. I'm really glad I waited a couple of months and tried it again. So now that it's a little bit warmer, this fragrance smells quite different, I have to admit. So first of all, I do get quite a lot of this original DNA here, as it's supposed to be. Like, I guess this was the initial idea. The coffee here is not super strong, but it's definitely there. You definitely have a bit of this coffee floral combination. In this initial phase of this fragrance, I still get quite a lot of this Black Opium Extreme vibe. So there's almost like a dark chocolate and coffee situation. but it settles down to this really pretty, cozy, sweet fragrance. As I said, it's not as strong as the coffee, it's not as potent as the original scent or like most of the flankers. It's much more muted. Like this kind of coffee accord is a little bit more tamed, it's a little bit more blended with everything else in this fragrance. It's kind of like a creamy lactonic marshmallow, a little bit of musk, blends so nicely with orange blossom and pear that gives me this kind of like a lighter, creamier, more lactonic version of the original fragrance. I personally think this is actually a perfect summer version of Black Opium. This fragrance is so much better now that it's a little bit warmer, and I suspect it might smell even better in summer. At this point, I don't have any complaints as to how long lasting this fragrance is. It does last long hours on my skin, so I have no complaints here. As for the projection, it's not this nuclear projection that some of the other flankers of this fragrance have, but I'll describe it as moderate. So who is this fragrance for? I mean, if you are a massive Black Opium fan, you might find this fragrance maybe not intense enough, maybe a little bit too muted, but on the other hand, this could actually be a really good summer version of this fragrance. Because let's be honest, these fragrances are quite strong, so this could be a really lovely summery version of Black Opium. Also, this one is definitely much more office friendly because it does not really project as crazy as some of the other ones. So yeah, I guess if you think about it like that, so this being more of a summery or like office friendly version of your favorite fragrance, then I guess it will work. Also, if you like the idea of this Black Opium fragrance, coffee and florals, but it's too strong for you, it's giving you a headache, try this one because it's much less intense on coffee. If you're looking for this realistic marshmallow scent, this is not what you're going to get here. This is a really nice marshmallow coffee combo, but it also has a lot of orange blossom and pear, so this is more like a creamy orangey coffee dessert kind of situation. I don't know if I would eat that, but it does smell pretty good, I would say. So creamy, sweet, lactonic, a little bit citrusy, still quite sexy. I think this is quite a good one. Is it revolutionary? No, but I would say none of these Black Opium flankers is particularly unique. The most unique thing about these fragrances is what they share together, which is this kind of like a coffee fruity accord. It is a little bit different though, especially compared to some like recent flankers, because this one is definitely much more suitable for warmer weather. It's not as strong, it's not as heavy. It has some of these more uplifting, airy notes like pear or orange blossom. So all in all, I think this is a nice addition to the range. Not necessarily a must-have unless this kind of like a lighter version of Black Opium sounds good to you. Anyway, guys, have you tried this fragrance? If so, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for watching. For more fragrance-related content, check these videos over here. I'm going to see you very soon. Take care. Bye!